Behind me is my project car. It's a Toyota AE86 that I've been working on for a while. And before it was running, I was working on fixing some stuff in the body and chassis. Because like most project cars, or especially older project cars, it has some holes. You see, this car used to be a track car or a drift car. I'm not really sure, but they put a roll cage in it and drilled a bunch of holes. Now the right way to fix holes is probably to do things like weld it up, which I was working on. But now that it's running and driving, before I could get all the holes patched up, I guess I'm gonna do something which is the wrong way to fix the holes. So I went to the internet and I searched for something that was hopefully going to patch up my holes and came up with this. 415 patch filler and seam sealer. Waterproof, apply over rusts for steel, blah, 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 all this extra stuff. So while this definitely isn't the right way to fix this, it's the way that I'm going to do it because this is just temporary. Eventually this whole car will get torn down and then I'll actually redo it the proper way. We're gonna start by cleaning the area with some denatured alcohol. This is a pretty good solvent that I like to use for stuff like this. You know, it's got to glue into place or something. It does a pretty good job of just getting all the dirt and debris and junk up. See? And it smells pretty good too. Now I'm gonna use some of this painter's tape on the bottom to just put over these holes. That way it's got some place or something to grab onto instead of just like, you know, slowly seeping out of the holes while it dries. One of the things that I really liked about this stuff is that on the infomercial that Pour 15 shows, they actually used it to patch rust holes like along the windowsill and the rain guard that's around the outside of doors. And that's what they used to patch it was some of the seam sealer stuff that they make. And there's probably a right and a wrong way to apply this stuff, but all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a big glob of it on my finger, like that. And I'm gonna spread it over the hole. They do have this in a couple of different colors. So if black isn't your thing, you can definitely get a different color. But I think they actually have, I think it's paintable, so if you really wanted to, you could paint over it afterwards. Now with all three of these holes patched, we just let that dry and we're gonna go ahead and do the other side because both sides of this car need it. Now I've already used this stuff to plug up some other holes in my car, like back here in the corner of my trunk. There's this crisscross pattern that had a bunch of like broken rivets in it. I think it might have been a battery tray or something at one point. So I just filled it in with the seam sealer junk and it seems to be working pretty okay. And seam sealer is all that this is. You know, it's a special product from Pour 15, but it's just a seam sealer. And if you're not familiar with what seam sealer is, pretty much is what body shops use or OEMs use. After they weld two panels together, they use this seam sealer goop along the seams of the panels, right? And that's what seals out the moisture and the dirt and the debris, the condensation, the exhaust odors and all that stuff. So this is just a fancy seam sealer from Pour 15. And now that we've got this side and that side done, it's just a matter of waiting. The cure time on this is pretty long. Pretty much says dries to the touch in 4 to 6 hours, but may take up to 96 hours to completely cure. So I guess you'll just have to wait after you put it on. But since I've already put it on a couple other spots in my car, I'm pretty happy with it. And you know, this should seal out some exhaust odors. That's really the big problem I have, is that exhaust fumes are getting sucked into the car and then it just smells gross and all that. So I was just trying to seal the body as best I can, temporarily, okay, temporarily, until I can strip the entire car back down for chassis and body work. That is the last thing to do on the car. What I want to do first is get everything perfect on it, everything as far as running and driving and reliable, all that stuff sorted out, get all suspension dialed in and everything, and then we'll strip the entire car again and then do the whole chassis over with all fresh bodywork, put it on a frame rack, you know, pull it straight, all that stuff. But getting it running and driving was important to make sure this car was actually going to work for what I wanted it to. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.